You filled out location and nationality.
Right. So you should have location filled out and nationalities of immigrants, right? So now we're talking about the differences between the two. Okay? We talked about how one's on the East Coast and one's on the West Coast. Now we're going to talk about the difference in treatment of people, okay? So Ellis Island, which you probably already know because we talked about it when you read yesterday, is the primary immigrant station on the East Coast of the United States from 1894 to 1954. Also, side note, if you have your notes from reading the other day, you could get those out because Mr. M is going to come around while I'm doing this and have you show your notes to him. Okay, if you have one of the sections done, you'll get 5 points. If you have 2 of them done, you'll get the full 10 points.
And if I come by and you don't have them out yet, just let me know and I can come by again, okay?
Okay?
I'll give you guys a little bit of time to get them out and then I'll come around.
Yeah, so also have your Cornell notes out while we're doing this. Does everyone understand the notes that we took on Monday? Okay.
From the reading.
The Cornell notes, the vocab things that you did. Was it on the same document?
No.
Check your trash. That's the same thing. See if you can search trash.
Oh, these really eyes on my
So you're in that case, you can't find it, you have to redo it.
I have to read it. Then can I get like an extension?
Yes. Okay, while you guys are getting those out, we're gonna multitask. We're gonna be good at it. Okay? Ellis Island is located outside of New York City. It served as the point of entry for 20 million Americans. So a lot of people came in through Ellis Island. Ellis Island? A lot of Americans came in through Ellis Island. 40% of Americans have ancestors who entered the U.S. through the Ellis Island station. Predominantly European immigrants came through Ellis Island. Okay, we talked about that already. European goes to the East Coast. Asian immigrants go to the West Coast, to Angel Island. Okay. And actually, I've been to Ellis Island, and the coolest thing about Ellis Island is that you can, like, if you have an ancestor who's come through Ellis Island, you can look up their records and, like, learn all the information about them specifically. It's very cool. I think they've got their database online. So if you know that your ancestors came over from Europe at some point, and you would like to look that up, you can do that. Okay, so that's Ellis Island. Angel Island is the primary immigration site on the west coast of the United States. It's in San Francisco Bay. Okay, if you don't know where San Francisco is, it's like sort of right here. So here's California, here's San Francisco. Okay, if you want a bigger map, one over here. San Francisco's up here. Okay, California, west coast. All right. The U.S. government opened both Angel and Ellis Island after 1891 when the government created its first immigration administration. So they opened these up to help organize what was going on with immigrants. Both stations sit on islands in the middle of prominent U.S. ports. Today, both islands are run as historic monuments. So you can go to them and look around like it's like a museum. It's very cool, actually. These differences offer insights into the continuing inequities faced by Asian American immigrants to the U.S. So, like, if you look at Ellis Island compared to Angel Island, it's very different experiences, and we're going to look at that. Okay, with me so far, everyone? Luckies? Okay, so for example, this is a picture of Ellis Island. What do you notice about it?
It's really organized.
Okay, it's really organized. They got big, nice American flags. They've got big, nice balconies. What else? Pretty fancy. I mean, like, yeah, it's pretty nice architecture. They've got some nice stuff going on at Ellis Island.
There's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, and that would be true for both of them. because a lot of people are coming in to both ports. Anything else?
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Yeah.
Looks like there's some like photos on the top.
Yeah, some photos. These are also like, there's like little rooms and windows up here. There's also like all windows over here, right? So super like bright, very like sunny and light, really nice architecture. This is Angel Island. And you can see that like the treatment is a lot different, right? So what's different about this picture? Yeah, Kate?
For starters, are all in like bath towels,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no lines. It's just, it looks like a whole bunch of like, I think kids, and then like one doctor. I think they're doing like an examination
Mm-hmm.
area. It's not very clean. It's not organized. It doesn't really look like Ellis Island.
Right, and this is obviously like there aren't as many people in this picture. It's a specific room. It doesn't necessarily mean there weren't as many people there. It just means that this picture has fewer. But yeah, you can see that they're not dressed in like probably what they brought over with them. It looks like they're all quite young. It looks like there's a doctor, a little dirtier, a little less organized, right? Probably not as great of a situation, if you had to guess, right? Yes. So some key differences. This is where you gotta look for that second half of your chart, okay? Processing and detention time, all right? So detention time's on there, I'm pretty sure. Immigrants at Ellis Island were usually held for shorter times, okay? So if you're going on Ellis Island, like you do have a lot of things to go through and check in on. If you did that Ellis Island web quest, you would know how many different stops there are. But they like check your health, they do like some screening questions, that sort of stuff. They're very thorough, but they do it relatively quickly unless you have like some disease that they want to make sure that you're not spreading to people once you get off of the boat and into it. Okay? If you had like, you were sick, they'd probably keep you, but for the most part, you were probably through that same day. Okay? In Ellis Island. Angel Island, Asian immigrants were held for months or even years. So they're detained for longer questioning. They're detained for like specific, they think they might have like other illnesses that they want to look out for. Mostly it was just because they were Asian. Okay, so Asian immigrants were held for months or even years. That's different, okay? The treatment is also different, okay? So Asian immigrants in Angel Island were treated horribly. They were not treated well. You can see that in the picture that we just saw, right? They don't really have their own clothes. Ellis Island, you might have had to stay at Ellis Island if you were sick or something like that. But generally speaking, they were treated much less severely. They had accommodations for them. I think they had like beds. It might have been like a room full of beds, but they had beds. So they have significantly more resources at Ellis Island than they do at Angel Island. Okay. I'll give you a minute to catch up on that. Remember, if you're copying it down word for word, you're probably not taking super effective notes. If you're writing things in your own words, you will remember it better. Give you a minute to write that down. All right, are we good if I move on to the next slide? Okay.
Wait.
Wait for like a minute, but everyone else is ready to go. You can always like have both of them. You don't have to start with them.
Miss Crossett,
Yes.
do you braid your own hair?
Yes.
No.
I just learned. Yeah. Okay. Scooting on. Interrogation practices is another difference, okay? You guys know what interrogation means?
Yeah. Questioning.
Yeah, if you interrogate someone, like police interrogate people sometimes, right? They bring them in for questioning and they ask them questions. So both Ellis and Angel Islands questioned arriving passengers about their lives, work in the US, and gave a medical exam, all right? So both have that in common. Do not write that down as a difference. They both gave medical exams and questioned people. However, Asian immigrants in Angel Island were often questioned more harshly and were isolated from friends and family during the process. So you're basically like alone in a room with whoever's interrogating instead of in a more open place with more people around. Okay. Okay, talked about the difference between new immigrants and old immigrants, so I want you to take a minute and write down your answer for that, okay? Who are the new immigrants and how are they different from the old immigrants? And then he talked about a couple push and pull factors in that video. If you want to list other ones that we talked about yesterday, that's fine. I just want to make sure that you guys know the difference between them, okay?
I think everything went linear and came out the other.
That's why we talk about it. Okay,
Yeah, what? He's definitely taking his food right now. My colleague.
See that? I just got cookies over.
Yeah.
I love that.
I had to update it.
Immigrant section is so bad.
I know, yeah. Although. Like, if there'd be something going on with the board or something.
Yeah, we're not really good at it.
Yeah, like, Russia, I would not want to go to Russia. I'm bored.
Yeah, not Russia.
Okay, I'm gonna give you another minute to finish answering those questions.
What else? Yeah, people said
That's hard.
Korea is the most country. Yeah, I'm literally like, oh, I don't know what I need to do with
My job is to teach your dog what to learn, and you're not.
I'm sorry.
You're learning things about TikTok, that's not valid.
Probably like the best country.
Okay. So, old immigrants, let's talk about who they are, because I don't think we've spent a ton of time talking about who they are specifically. So, someone want to tell me who the old immigrants are? Tell me a thing about them.
So I believe that the old immigrants had it easy than the new immigrants, because like back then there wasn't that many restrictions or like and they also.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
So, there were fewer restrictions for the old immigrants. They could kind of come in with a little bit more ease. What kind of people were they? Where were they from? Over here.
They were from the familiar countries like England, Scandinavian countries.
Okay, so they're from Northeast Europe. Okay, so they're from like England,
Scandinavian countries.
Scandinavia, so like Norway, Finland, Scandinavia, France, some Germans. Germans just keep coming over. The Germans are always coming over. Okay? So, those are the old immigrants. What do those people tend to look like? White. They're generally fairer, right? What kind of religion do they usually, what most of them have?
Protestant.
They'd be Protestant, okay, which is what most of America is going to be at that time.
Russians are
Right. They come in later. The Irish also come in. They're kind of the exception to this rule. The Irish are Catholic, for the most part, and people really did not appreciate the Irish. Okay, there were a lot of signs that would be like, no Irish need apply. So like you didn't have to, they'd be like, don't even bother applying for a job. We're not gonna hire you if you're Irish, okay? They did not like the Irish, okay? Where are our new immigrants coming from? We got Asia, okay. Where else? East and?
South.
Okay, so Southeast Europe. So what kind of countries would those be?
Italy, Greek, Slovakian countries, China, no, not China.
southern and eastern
What's it called? Austria-Hungary, I think it was.
It was Austria-Hungary. Yeah, it's the Austro-Hungarian Empire. There were also still some Germans because they just come over all the time. Poland was a big one. Polish immigrants. So, okay, what kind of religious makeup do we see in these guys? Catholic, Jewish, Orthodox, right? Not what people who are Protestant in America are used to, right? So are they going to meet that with super happy feelings? Probably not. Okay, and also, is it as easy to get into the country at this point? No, we started passing more laws, okay? All right. Do you guys feel okay about your push and pull factors, or do you want to go over those? Okay, we'll go over some real quick. What are some push factors that could push you out of the country you were in? Silence.
Poor living conditions.
Poor living conditions, great. What else? Share?
Famine, poverty, religious persecution, and tyrannical rulers.
Okay, you did like 4. Famine, poverty, dictatorships, things like that. Do you have a different one, or do you need to take yours? Okay, Riley?
Religious freedoms.
Religious freedoms. Ollie?
Wars.
Okay, if there was a war in your country. The old immigrants, if we're talking about them real quick, the Irish came over because of a potato famine.
Oh,
So like,
actually, it was kind of misleading because it was a famine because the UK they imported food from Ireland.
mhm,
Like they weren't allowed to eat anything except for potatoes because that was very like a low quality crop and no one would like buy it, that they were buying. So and the potato
Right.
blight
Yep.
caused made the potato blight like swept Ireland and they lost their only source of food.
yep.
And so it's entirely the UK's fault
Mhm.
that so many people died.
Yep.
I took an Irish history class in college. That is true.
Okay. So pull factors. What would make you want to come to America?
The American dream.
The American dream. You're like, ooh, I hear it's great over there. Mine.
Freedom.
Freedom. All right. 1.
Democracy.
Democracy. What else? Anything else? Yes.
Unalienable rights.
Unalienable rights. Okay, so we have like a constitution that lists out what you have the right to here. Okay, so that would be nice for them, especially if you had a government that was not great. Okay, we can do one more. Job opportunities, absolutely. Okay. So we're gonna watch our second video. It's about the Chinese Exclusion Act, which was mentioned in that first video, but not in super big detail, right? So we're gonna watch that really quickly. Let me pause this again. Okay, people who want all immigrants out of the country, they don't treat them very well, right? They're like, we don't want you here at all, okay? How does that act show nativist tendencies? How does the Chinese Exclusion Act show that? Holly?
It's like literally power. Like the whole idea of like you cannot be here, you get out, or you leave, you can't come back.
Right,
Like that's just the whole point of nativism.
right. It's like legally sanctioned nativism, right? Kate?
Personally, I think this shows that the US government was like a weaker government because they just decided to do the first thing instead of being like, oh, maybe us and China should like renegotiate or terms or whatever, and that would I think solve the problem a lot better than just be like, nope, no more people Chinese descent.
Right. Right. They did set up quotas for other like groups too. They'd be like, only this many people from certain countries can come in. Do you think the act was fair?
No.
Okay, why or why not?
Because you're pretty much just discriminating the entire race.
Right. Very true. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over this right now. Hopefully we'll have time to go over it tomorrow. Tomorrow we start cartoon analysis. You're gonna have to use your knowledge that you learned over the last couple days to figure out what cartoons are saying about immigrants, okay? So practice with this. That's the skill you're kind of gonna be using there, and you'll have to use those vocab words we talked about, okay?